This is the Awesemo.com golf show, always Tuesday, 2:30. Myself, Ben Raza, here with Tim Frank. We were not fired after the Masters somehow, so we're still here. We're licking our wounds. Justin Rose did not win the Masters. Came up a little short, but we do get Tim's favorite event of the year. So I know you're in a good mood. I know you're excited to talk about Heritage.
I love this event. I really do
I know
love
you
this
do.
event. Yeah, I just like to see. I think it's the most unique course on tour. So different than all the other tracks, kind of an equalizer in terms of length off the tee. I mean, I kid around about liking old golfers and accurate golfers. I mean, I love DJ, I love Rahm, I love watching those guys smash the ball, but it's nice here and there to see an event that kind of reins all that in, puts more of an emphasis on accuracy and short game and putting. And I think that's what we get. And we have a better field this week than I think we've seen, I don't know, ever at this event. So, I mean, it's really intriguing to see, DJ, Bryson, Cantley, Spieth, a lot of the best in the world normally skip this event. I'm excited to see him play this track because it's more of a technical challenge. It provides different challenges than you see almost every week on tour.
Absolutely. We're going to get into the field, obviously. We have to talk a little bit about the Masters. Your boy, Tiger, took it down. I had no horse in the race. My horses were killed. What did you think? I mean, it was pretty absurd, obviously. I'm assuming you were watching.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, normally I was with you. I went out the window with like Casey and Rose on Friday. But yeah, I mean, you just had to watch. Great event. Really was thinking Molinari was kind
Same.
of in control, and it looked almost like at the Open Championship where he was just on cruise control. And then all hell broke loose on 12. And then Tiger really, once he had the lead, I mean, you could tell he just wasn't relinquishing it. He didn't hit any loose shots coming down the stretch. And as much as I like to poke fun at Tiger because I like to make the easy joke, and I'm trying to make people laugh. But I don't dislike Tiger, and it was great to see him win. I mean, just to see the reaction of all the people, yeah, amazing comeback by him. I didn't think he'd ever win a major, and now it looks like he's got more majors left in him for sure.
Grand Slam coming.
Yeah, he's going all 4 this year.
Yeah, you're holding. I'm assuming that ticket for $20 to recoup. But yeah, it was incredible. I'm not, I like Tiger. It's like most. He's incredible to watch. And I was with you. I thought Molinari had it. It was just the same story with him. It seemed like there was no correlation between his golf shots and his score. He would just hit it wildly off the tee, then just hit it to 7 feet somehow, make his par. And then 12 came and everyone hit it in the water except Tiger, basically. All of them, I don't know what they were seeing. Cantley made his little move, and then he blew 16, which was just a killer. So incredible field. And, just a transition, obviously, back to RBC, that's what we're here to talk about. I was stunned. Obviously, a couple guys, Kuchar, DJ, they're RBC sponsored guys. So like I don't know if they have to play, but at the same time, they kind of have to come here. We have a handful of other guys that have decided to play right after the major, and it really bolstered this field, which is usually one of the weaker points, if you want to critique it, because I love the course. It's just usually we don't have the strongest field.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good to see these guys playing. We're not used to it, but yeah, we'll take it this week. And I think a lot of people make, there's all the guys at the top played last week. So I mean, I don't kind of buy into the narrative of, oh, you don't want somebody that played or contended at the Masters. I mean, all the best players played last week, so I'm really not taking into account anything of if they played, if they didn't play, if they missed the cut. Obviously, we're going to evaluate how they played. But almost exclusively, these guys at the top all played, and most of them played well last week. I don't think that's a downfall. I don't think they're going to be mentally drained from the Masters. I've kind of kicked that theory around for a few years, but it hasn't really worked out.
It's tough to quantify, obviously. Yeah. I kind of split the difference, and we'll get into specifics. I think for big name guys like DJ or something, has zero effect. But for someone like Molinari in particular to be in the hunt on Sunday late and have it implode, I don't think that's the best. That's emotion. I don't care who you are. But he's still, like you said, if you're in contention on Sunday at the Masters, it's a given that if you play well this week and you're capable, you're going to be just fine. So we know the talent that's associated with that. Before we get into the golfers, We got Harbor Town. We got to talk because this is a weird course. We don't see a lot of these, during the year. Par 71, but you want to give the people a little breakdown?
Yeah, it's a 7,100-yard par 71 Pete Dye course. Um, like I said in the opening, really just super emphasis on accuracy. The fairways are very narrow. Sometimes just hitting the fairway isn't good enough. You have to hit a certain section of the fairway. Um, a lot of short approaches, very small greens, emphasis on around the green game. And that, depending on the wind, I know we could possibly be looking at windy conditions. So if the wind's blowing, there's going to be a ton of missed greens, a ton of up and downs you're going to have to make. But yeah, I mean, it's all about hitting the fairway, hitting a close approach in mostly short irons this week. And then, who can make the most 12-foot birdie putts. So this is one of the few weeks where I think putting is important. That's not to say, there's a lot of variance in putting. It's not to say a guy like Benny On can't just magically get hot with the putter. But, to me, it's a bit of a putting contest because a lot of people are going to be hitting from the same spots in the fairways. And it's just who can stick it close and who can make the most birdies. So, wind will play a factor. It's exposed to the wind. I think with no wind, an easier course. But when the wind starts howling, you're going to need to get up and down. Just tweeted right before the show. I mean, Brian Gay won this event by 10 shots. So, so that tells you kind of all you need to know about this event. If you know anything about Brian Gay, one of the shortest hitters on tour, one of the best putters on tour. And if you can imagine him winning by 10, which is unheard of, it kind of gives you a little glimpse into what, at least that year, what it took to win here, hitting fairways and making putts.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Luke. Obviously, this is Luke Donald's playground. Just dominates. The Wesley Bryan type golfer can succeed here. So we'll see. Yeah, I think you touched on the key points. These are small greens. You're gonna have to scramble at times. You're gonna have to get up and down. Off the tee, you got to keep it out of the trees or you're dead. You don't have to be aggressive. You're not going to be allowed on some of these holes to be aggressive. So a lot of guys hitting from the same spots. Second shot course, but it is different to me in the sense that if it's windy, it's going to be very challenging. It's going to be a grinded out type of thing. And these guys, it seems, even on hard courses this year, they find a way to still go pretty low. But I do think no matter who you are, being able to be crafty around the green is going to be pertinent because you just can't hit that many greens in regulation if it's windy and there's just small surfaces. So on that note, we'll dive in. Like we said, we have DJ at 11-6, Molinari, Xander, Bryson, and Kuchar. So all five of the top guys, they all played last week. Most of them played really well, actually. Bryson wasn't in contention. He got a hole-in-one on Sunday. What are your thoughts here? Because for me, I'll just go real quick. DJ's the kind of guy, he's 11-6 in the Masters and he's 11-6 in whatever else he plays. He doesn't really get higher than that. It's more the drop off between him and who's second.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts on how I feel about DJ this week. I mean, this is really the anti-DJ course.
Yes.
In the past, I made a much bigger deal about course fit. I think 3 years ago, I probably would have said, I hate DJ. There's no way he can do well here. But I mean, he's the best golfer in the world. And in reality, this is only taking away his off the tee game. The rest of his game is really strong as well. I mean, he's not like a one trick pony who just can bomb it and that's it. I mean, he's got a great approach game. He's great around the greens, good putter. The question for me is he going to have the patience and play the style of golf that, kind of calls for at this course or this course requires? I'm not so sure. He played here last year. It was T16. There's a lot of cheap guys that I think are going to lead to some DJ teams. I mean, pricing seems pretty soft. But just, off the top, my gut is I don't really like DJ this week because this is the one place where I will put more of an emphasis on course fit. Can he win? Sure, because he's the best golfer in the world. He's the best golfer in this field. I just think this is one of the worst tracks on tour for him. So he's going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage. The same thing goes for a guy like Xander, another great golfer. I just don't know if this is the best course for him. I like Kuchar at 10K. This is just your typical Kuchar track. He has a great record here. He's been playing great. He was 12th last week at the Masters, 7th at Valero. Just been playing good. He won at Sony, won at Mayakoba. These are, corollary tracks to here. Everything kind of lines up well. So, I mean, I'm probably going to start a lot of lineups with Kuchar just because I feel like the course fit is very strong. I mean, this is really his style of course, and he's been playing. I mean, this is his best year in the last 5 years, maybe the best year of his career. I just like the way that he's playing. So yeah, it lines up for Kuchar for me this week.
I think a lot of people are going to go there. He's going to be very popular for good reason. He's having a ridiculous year. He's going to a course that he tears apart, and you get a discount. It actually leads into, friend of the show. We had a question from Chad. Scott was asking stars or scrubs or balance, which is always a popular question. I think more people are going to go balance because you can start with kind of Kuchar, and then you're not forced into the sixes if you don't want to be. I'll say I'd kind of lean the other way. Not that I won't have some balanced builds. I might go really balanced when we get into the 9K because I think you could start with some of those guys. But I don't mind taking a stab with one of the top guys. And actually, a guy you didn't really mention who I think is going to be sneaky is Bryson. He's played here 3 years, 2 really good showings, a miscut, which I don't worry about that. I think this is the type of track he can excel at. He's very him. He likes to deal with the whatever. And he's a one-off from Kuchar, who's going to be massively popular. So I'll probably look there more in tournaments. I think in cash, Kuchar's probably the guy because he checks every box. Like you said, he's playing great and he loves this course. So there are some options. Molinari, I would say, is going to be the least popular. And to me, it's for good reasons. Not that he's not an incredible player. I prioritize basically everyone up there over him. So Bryson and DJ, kind of where I look. I think the masses look for Kuchar because overall, you get that discount and you get that safety.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, Molinari's price is just strange, only being $300 cheaper than DJ. It just seems like if you're going to go there, you might as well go all the way up to DJ. And like you said, we're not sure how Molly's going to bounce back from the meltdown on the back nine last week, or the second nine. Sorry, we don't say back nine at the Masters.
Oh wow. Yeah, I was honestly surprised not to go backwards, but the split tees, I knew they had to get in because of the weather. It was just that was so unmasters like to see them going off both sides. It was anarchy at the end there, watching Griot just destroy the front nine in a bad way, just getting worked as the leaders finished up. But right below Kuchar, this is where, I mean, the pricing this week, I think, is, I don't want to say it's horrible, but it's just very odd. And the 9K range kind of talks about this. We got Cantlay, Spieth, Furyk, Webb, Tommy Fleetwood, Kisner, and Siwoo. The thing, I'll pass it right to you, but I just wanted to point out, Tommy Fleetwood was that price in the Masters, and now he's that price in this field. That stood out to me immediately. But what are your thoughts here if you don't want to take the first 5, the top guys?
Yeah, I mean, Fleetwood stuck out to me right away as being extremely mispriced. You look even from a Vegas perspective, we have him at 22-1, which is the same as Kuchar. Kuchar's 22-1. And he's been playing so consistently well. It wasn't great last week, T36. But going into the match play, he went in the match play with a third and a fifth. Didn't make it out of pool play at the match play, but that's kind of something we throw out. But I just think from a consistency standpoint, and I mean, he's got the upside. He's going to win on the PGA Tour at some point. Just a well-rounded player. I mean, Fleetwood stuck out to me at 9,200. But yeah, this is kind of a weird price range. I think Cantlay's great at 9,700. 7th and 3rd here last year, played extremely well last week. Was right around the lead. Great round on Saturday. So yeah, I like him at 9,700. Spieth at 9,500. That's a strange one.
What do you make of that? Because I kind of am interested. I'm not going to lie.
I am interested a little bit. Just because, like you said, we saw Wes Bryan win here, who is like set the bar for horrendous off the tee play. He's just like one of the worst of all time of actually guys who've won on the PGA Tour. And then you also mentioned Luke Donald, who, from a long-term perspective of a guy that was an elite player, was extremely terrible off the tee. So this place will mask some of the off the tee woes. Because the Masters app was so great, I actually went back and I wanted to grind the film, and I watched every shot that Spieth hit last week, and he started off pretty shaky off the tee. I'll just preface it by saying I'd much rather have strokes gain metrics and just be able to look at that. I don't consider myself qualified to really, break down golfers' swings and what they were doing. But from the eye test, the off the tee game started off pretty bad. It got a little better. I mean, he wasn't as bad as I thought he was going to be. I thought it was going to be a disaster because he hadn't been playing well at all. He was pretty solid Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I mean, just the rest of his game though isn't really. It's not like he's just struggling off the tee and has been awesome on approach, awesome on and around the green. I mean, he's kind of been struggling everywhere. I think if there's a place where that could turn around, it would be here, just because the off the tee game is pretty much mitigated. But I mean, Cantlay to me seems to have upside and be safer. Fleetwood to me is way safer and still has some upside. But I mean, Spieth in tournaments if the ownership is right.
That's the thing. I don't think he's going to be overly popular. And my thought, and obviously I think we're going to all dig into this as the tournament draws closer, is maybe the abilities here, because you can't be aggressive off the tee, nor would you want to. Maybe Spieth being forced to club down like everyone else can mask some of it. Like, obviously, it's got to be easier for him going with some irons off the tee, some woods off the tee. And I think we all would realize that if he survives the off the tee portion of the course, there's no reason he can't play well. The biggest knock for me is that it's not about playing well. It's about beating guys like Webb, like Cantlay, like Fleetwood, even Furyk. This range, these guys are also playing really well. They don't have nearly as many question marks. And, I've seen this whole narrative with like we were talking about, playing the Masters versus not, with so many more guys playing this tournament, that narrative's going to change. Like if 20, 30 guys from the Masters every year start playing Heritage, you're going to see the best players at Heritage be guys who played in the Masters. So I don't really worry about that with these guys because none of them were really in contention anyway. I like this range. I think you could start lineups with two of these guys and be a little different if you wanted to go balanced. Start with like Cantlay, Fleetwood, and work down. Depending on who you do, it could be pretty unique.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love this range, especially just because I'm not really high on any of the top guys. Not super high on DJ or Xander. Not to say that I mean, I hate them. That I think that they're complete fades. But my favorite plays thus far tend to be guys from Kuchar on down. Kuchar, Cantlay, Fleetwood, a little bit of Webb. I mean these, and I just think these guys set up better for the course than some of the guys at the top.
What about Jim Furyk? He's one I'm torn on. I don't usually play him. He's pretty expensive. But if it's really windy, if it's brutal, obviously he's playing fantastic. And this is his type of course.
Yeah, I mean, I like him. Obviously, I mean, he shot a 58 here. He's won here. Going back to 2008, he's won here twice. Has a bunch of other top tens, and he's playing well. For me at 9,400, there just seems like it's like an opportunity cost. I guess I would say it seems like Cantlay just has a lot more win equity. Fleetwood. I think I'd just rather play some of these other guys who are playing just as well, but I just feel like they have more win equity than Furyk does.
I'm kind of with you. Similar with Kisner's playing great, and he's a Pete Dye guy. It's not like he can't play well. It's just you're talking about big price jump, and I knew he would get a jump. I just didn't know it was going to be this high. That's a lot to pay for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a 9,100, and there's guys that we'll talk about at 7,500 who I think we'd put in the same bucket as Kisner.
Yeah, Ned would be that man, but
yeah, Sneds, Knox. Yeah, you can basically get Kisner for 7,500. So, I mean, I'm guessing he'll be low owned, but he doesn't seem to fit this range. Neither does Siwoo Kim. He's played well here, and he's been playing well this year. But to me, at 9K, when you pair him or compare him to some of these other guys, I just can't get there with Siwoo.
I'm with you. And, Siwoo always has win equity. It's just, I'll take my chances. If he wins, so be it. Lost in the playoff last year to Satoshi. Now we got Billy Ho leading off the 8K range. Billy Ho, Kokrak, CH3. And then, to me, this is where it gets interesting. Poulter, Fitzy, Im Grace, Benyon, Ryan Marr, and Marc Leishman. Obviously, I like a lot of guys in the 8K range. What stood out to you, just kind of looking at it from top to bottom?
Yeah, not a lot at the top. Like I said, I just feel like there's guys at 8K, 7,500 that you can get are fairly comparable to some of these guys in the upper 8 range. I think we'd probably get down. I'm not playing Kokrak. I'm just like,
no.
We can't get there. I just need to throw that out there right now at 8,800. I'd probably get down to him at 8,400 would be, one of my favorite plays in this range. Just great all around game. Um, in his last 5 events, he's got a seventh, a fourth, and a third, and a T20. He's missed one cut. I think just all around game has been really strong all year. And down at 8,100, I really like Ryan Moore. This just feels like a great Ryan Moore course, and he never plays here. He played here last year with T16. Prior to that, he hadn't played here since 2008, where he missed the cut. But just this seems like a perfect course for him. And when you think about what he does well and where he plays well, he tends to play well at shorter courses, courses that require accuracy and short approaches. He's won at places like Shriners, one of places like CIMB, Windham. I just think it sets up well for him. He hadn't had a great season until he got to Valero, and then just struck the ball great. I think he gained over 8 strokes with the ball striking. Was just throwing darts at the end there. Just he ended up T3, couldn't quite get there, but just Sunday was really really playing well. I think this is just a great course for him, even though he hasn't played here for whatever reason. I like Ryan Moore.
I do too. I like the 8s as we work down. Like Kokrak, for many reasons, I think he's too expensive. He is playing great, but he's also putting phenomenal. Once you get to, you mentioned him, who is just, that guy has no leak in his game. He's just quality up and down. I have to talk about Benny on. I'm going to be really popular. So you're not going to get any leverage there unless you go way overweight. But the guy, he consistently gets it done while losing 5-6 strokes putting. Like, it's not even a problem anymore. It is, for him to win. And eventually you hope he's going to break down the door. But my God. And the other thing, I say this often, and maybe it's me who doesn't realize this, but I always feel like people don't get, Benny On is a phenomenal scrambler. He's one of the better around the green players on tour. So
yeah, I think he leads the tour in strokes gained around the green this year.
Yeah, and that can mask some of the putting woes.
Well,
So,
and he's a great ball striker. It's like literally the only leak in his game is the putting. I know that's how. Yeah, it's a big leak. I think the thing for him, I think the harder it plays might be the better for him. Calm conditions, if everybody's just throwing darts and it becomes a putting contest from 12 feet, probably not the best. But yeah, literally the only thing that he has trouble with is putting. Great ball striker, great around the green, but.
So I'm in, and I'm with you on Ryan Moore. The guy I wanted to talk about, and again, it doesn't make him a good play automatically, but for me, it stands out, and then you got to evaluate. Marc Leishman is another guy that I thought he was 7,800, I believe, for the Masters. He's 8,000 in this field. He's not playing great, but I think this is a decent track for him when I just think about his game, and I personally think he's a better player than most of these guys. You have any interest in him at flat 8K?
Yeah, I do have some interest because I don't think he'll be very popular. And we've seen the upside with him. And he played well at the match play. Had a great early on in the season, really had it going, and kind of cooled off after that, kind of after Riviera. But yeah, I think if he's not going to be popular, I wouldn't mind going to him. Like you say, just seems underpriced. Good all around game. Didn't do too much last week, but we're not going to hold that against him.
No. And again, you can look at both sides. With guys, I look at, and maybe again, this is just how I do it. Course fit, things like that. I weigh that more heavily as we work down to go. Like DJ, to bring it back, you were saying like a couple of years ago, and I was the same way. I'd be like, oh, this is you can't overpower this course. He's one of the best players in the world, though. It doesn't really matter too much. Would I prefer some different things? Sure. But if he brings a good game, he's going to be fine. Whereas, Peter, I don't know why Peter Malnati comes to mind. Like, he has very specific needs to succeed, and that's where I think it becomes more pertinent. Leishman to me is more in the former category. Like, if he plays well, he can handle this type of course. He can handle any course. So I don't really worry about a guy like that. Yeah. Anything else before that we moved? What about Fitzy? Barroff's boy. We got to talk about him.
Boy.
8,500.
He claims this is his favorite course, even though he
the
missed the cut. Yeah. I don't know. It does seem like a Fitz course. The fact that he says it's his favorite course, I guess, means a little bit to me. Played pretty well at the Masters, but I don't see myself getting there, but I wouldn't
I wish he was
I
a
wouldn't
little
kill anybody
cheaper.
for playing him, but not for me.
I'm gonna have some. I thought he was so bad on Thursday. Really rallied last week. This should be. I was so insane to see Fitzy struggle here 2 straight years because he's not a long hitter. He is better with long irons, but still, he should succeed at a track like this. I don't love the price. I may get there if I can get leverage with 15%, 10%.
It's for me. It comes down to it's like an emotional hedge. Is like I don't want to play him because I don't want him to win and have to endure the bar off victory laps and everything. It would just be he'll be insufferable on Twitter
I
for
mean,
like weeks.
most of what we do on the show is talk about life hedging. Like
Yeah, this
it's all
is
about the life hedge.
hard hitting analysis here.
It's only what you can get. That's why we always ask to hit that like button. All right, as we work down, we got Justin Harding, who maybe the best player ever, who just out of nowhere, a guy churns week after week. And then I'll just rattle them off. We got Cam Smith, Charlie Hoffman, The Glove, Luke List, Russell Knox, Answer RCB, and then we get into the mid sevens. But from that top end of the 7K range, anything stand out in terms of quality core plays?
It's frightening how much I like Lucas Glover this week.
Ooh, yeah, that never ends well.
But I mean, if you look at his stats, look at his results. I mean, it's all great. I mean, he's made 12 starts this year, T17 or better in 10 of 12 starts. Just rock solid in every strokes gain category. He's good around the green, good ball striker. Putting has been, pretty decent. Doesn't have a great track record here, which is a little strange. But yeah, I mean, he's fourth par four scoring, 13th tee to green, 19th approach, 19th around the green, first in bogey avoidance. I love, I don't know, I love Lucas Glover. He's one of my favorite plays. I think I'm probably going to bet him at 50-1.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what else I
He's
can say
been
about
getting
him.
it done. I'll tell you this much, just looking at us, when he doesn't miss the cut, and he hasn't missed many, he's getting you some placement points every single week.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt. We knew the putter was going to cool off. We talked about that going into the Players. Eventually, it was going to cool off. It has, and he's still, at Valspar and Valero, super effective. I will say he had a ridiculous around the green game in both. If he brings that, he'll be fine. He is a great ball striker. I'm going to go, I don't know who both of us are. I like Russell Knox, who is your man a lot. Talk about on fire with the irons. He is dealing right now. If he could get his putter together in the rest of the game, he's going to have no trouble. And I think this is a really good course for him.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love Knox. The approach, it's a little funny with him because, he hasn't played since the match play. He didn't advance out of the pool play there, but we don't really care too much about that. But like you said, leading into the match play, I mean, the irons were just on fire. I think he gained 18 strokes just on approaches in the 3 prior events to that. This is a perfect course for him. He's got, 4 top 20s in 5 starts. Just a short course specialist. I mean, if you look at the places where he's won at Mayakoba, one at the Travelers, he does well at the Honda, does well here. I mean, really a short track specialist. The approach game's been great. I'm fully on board. Both Glover and Knox are 2 of my favorite plays on the board.
What about Luke List? He's the other guy in that range who he lost. It was like 8 strokes putting at Valero. I like when he can club down, when they kind of force you. He's in the Woodland range where he's a long hitter, but it benefits him to be a little more conservative off the tee. It's just tough when you can. There's such I don't want to say it's a giant chance, but he has weeks where it's impossible for him to play well because his putter is that bad.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought up Woodland because I finally learned with Woodland. It took about 8 years, but I haven't learned with List yet. So I'm still going to say this is a terrible course for him, even though he finished 3rd here last year. But he's just not playing that well. He was,
No, he's not.
That Valero performance really stung. I don't love the course fit, and I think it also comes down to the fact that there are a ton of guys in this range that I really, really like. So I don't think there's going to be room for List. We just talked about Glover, we just talked about Knox. There's a couple more guys at 75, 74 that I really like. This is a stacked range. I don't think I'm getting there with List. He just hasn't been that strong this year.
Fair enough. I'm going to open up the 7.5. I want to say though, RCB is at 7.6. I dug in more with him. We had some sharp people in Slack talking about him. I do worry about his scrambling abilities. In calm conditions, birdie fest potential, I like it. If it's a more grinded out, him and Chesson Hadley are like certain conditions, maybe, certain conditions, definitely not. But more important than that, I'll pass it back to you. You mentioned you like a couple guys here. Sneds was the one for me at 7.5. I've seen, some ZJ talk, Graham McDowell. What kind of stuck out to you as we work to the lower sevens?
Yeah, just a thought on our RCB. I'm with you. The around the green game is a concern. I don't hate him from a course fit perspective as much as I would say List. From a pedigree standpoint, very maybe a better golfer than a lot of guys here. But yeah, there are concerns about the around the green game, and if it gets windy, that could pose some problems. But like List, there's just a lot of guys that I like here, and I don't know if I'll get to RCB. Yeah, ZJ at 7,500. I don't know why it just seems wrong. The price seems wrong. He hasn't played that great,
No.
this year. He doesn't have a great course history here outside of a runner-up in 2012, but it just seems like the prototypical Zach Johnson course.
Yeah. Ryan Moore and ZJ, they're always tied together.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like a great course for him, even though he just hasn't quite put it all together here yet. I like him. Great course for McDowell, past winner here. Kind of renewed game. Same thing with Snedeker, past winner here. Missed the cut last week, but he's a volatile guy, just very up and down. And I think I say this about him on almost every show. If he's playing well, he's a real threat to win. He's got a lot of win equity when the game is working. He's a winner. But you just have to embrace some of that volatility and realize that sometimes he just doesn't have it. Kind of an erratic ball striker. So there's going to be weeks where he just doesn't have it, and he's gonna, bigger miss cut equity, but also I think he has more win equity than some of these other guys. Grillo at 7,400 seems like a great course fit. I mean, it's just like this range is really loaded. Grillo's gonna hit every fairway. He's got a great approach game. He's gonna throw darts, and it's just gonna come down to, can he make the putt? Which the answer is probably no. But
well, at least we'll get there. Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we have to cross it. He was good here last year, lost 4 strokes putting, still was, kind of up there. ZJ, he's got to get the off the tee game back in shape. So maybe another one where you look to Spieth, you look to those guys. Can this type of track mitigate what's been happening? Because the rest of his game should be fine. And obviously we know that iron shots, you get some wedges in his hand, he'll be just fine. Ollie's right there, the hatless wonder. No.
Never Ollie.
Never Ollie. That's words to live by. Graham McDowell, you mentioned, trying to get into the U.S. Open. Pebble Beach, the defending champ. We'll see about that. This is where, and I say it every single show, there's always one line where you get to Griot, you get to the lower sevens, and then to me it falls off a bit. There are some plays as we work down, but that's where I start to get kind of more red flags than positives for my golfers.
Yeah, I'm with you. The mid sevens seems like it's stacked, and then it really falls off. Henley is at least.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like we say he's interesting every event, and he just never does much. He never kills you. But just if you talk, correlating courses, one Sony, one Honda. This event lines up pretty well with those two events. Short courses, Bermuda greens, windy. Not playing great. And I don't love him at 7,300. I'd much rather just find the extra couple $100, get up to Griot, get up to ZJ or Sneds. But I don't, I wouldn't mind Henley as your last guy in if you're a pinch. That's really a rousing endorsement, but that's all I got.
That's as good as we're gonna do with him. He's the guy. It's been a rough year, but I was certainly interested in him. My biggest, I don't want to say detriment, but I like Bud Cauley at 7,300. Another really underrated scrambler, around the green guy. Certainly has the length, can club down here, no problem. Should be in line. And if it is tough conditions, he is a very, very good around the green player. So that's a guy that I don't think gets a ton of love, or maybe should be a little more talked about kind of in the industry. So do you have any, I know you're a Bud Cauley guy at heart, right?
I was, but I just feel like
what happened?
I mean, when you bet a guy 25 times and he never wins, it's just you kind of just get off the ship. I liked him a lot. I mean, he has a ton of talent, battled so many injuries, came back from that, looked like he was going to win, looked like he could win, got in a car accident. The guy's just been like, his career has been derailed like so many times. Yeah, I mean, the talent's there, but I mean, I'm not, this year he's been up and down. I mean, he has a couple top 20s, a lot of miscuts mixed in there. I think I'll go elsewhere.
Will you play Luke Donald?
No, I will not play Luke Donald.
Me neither.
But I got to say that T9 at Valspar at least was intriguing, right? I mean,
he scares me now a lot more than I was hoping he was coming in with ugly form, because people will just play him regardless.
yeah.
He
I didn't
showed
play. I mean, I didn't play Luke Donald, in 2017, 2016, 2015. I'm not going to start now, but I will say it's, to me, yeah, like you said, it's concerning that he at least played well at Valspar, and it's like, maybe he's got a little something left in the tank, but I'm not. He will be over-owned just because of that course history.
there's too many other guys for me. Like, if I was taking one-offs, I would go to like Matt Wallace. He's there. Pepperell. You could look to a lot of Hatchman just pointed out in chat. KH Lee is a late add to the tournament. Your guy. So
Benny On Jr.
Yep, he's right. You can stack him up with the other obscenely good ball strikers. The last guy I want to mention in the sevens, and then we'll work down to the real egregious guys. Do you have any feel on Keith Mitchell, who in the Florida swing obviously showed that he's a little more than what I thought, which is just a bomber? He's pretty crafty, a Bermuda guy. You going to get there, or is it just too many guys in this range?
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get there. He showed me a lot at Honda, which is a less than driver track. I didn't think that was a good track for him at all. I will say that I think Honda rewards length more than Harbortown does. I mean, this place pretty much negates all length. So yeah, I don't think I'll get there from a course fit standpoint. Being on Bermuda is helpful, but yeah, I don't love Mitchell this week. I think this is. I mean, he definitely showed something at Honda, but I'm not ready to go there yet with him here at this track. It's just too much of a different animal for me.
Fair enough. Before we dive into the sixes, as we always say, if you haven't signed up, you're looking to get behind the paywall, you can always do that. Use the promo code JazzRaz. You get some off your first month, and you can check out everything: articles, Tim's Slack, escapades, the projections, Jason Roslin stuff. And you have, obviously, all the other sports that we offer, depending on what you sign up for. So always want you guys come check that out as the season gets underway.
I'll be hosting a 36-hour Ask Me Anything.
Just an AMA week with Tim.
Yeah, from midnight tonight until noon on
till the Zurich
Thursday.
starts, which is next week. That's what the subs really want. I will just say, I didn't even plan to talk about it. It just caught my eye when I was scrolling. Norin is just 7K, and you can't even consider him, I don't think. It's so sad.
Poor guy. He made the cut last week and then was DFL.
Yeah, him and Grillo. Good job, good effort.
So maybe if there's like 50-mile-an-hour winds the whole week, I don't know.
God, the guy
Norin and Spawn. I feel like if this was like 6 months ago, that would just be you just lock them both in.
Spawn has to be hurt.
I think he is. I think he is.
So Party Marty's there. That's a bad range. As we dip into the sixes, I have to go first because Bill Haas is 6,900. Showed some life at Valspar with his tidy 6-stroke skein putting. This is a Bill Haas type of course. I'm not saying to play him, but that's the kind of guy that I envision having success at Harbor Town. So just wanted to give that. But what do you make of this?
But he hasn't had a lot of success at Harbor Town outside of last year. He's like Zach Johnson. Like, you would think he would do great here, but
but that doesn't bother me though. Like, I'm more willing to say, okay, if this guy hasn't had success, it's just a matter of time. If his skill set truly correlates, maybe not Bill Haas in that sense, because Bill Haas has got some serious issues off the tee and with every other part of his game besides random putting. But like someone like Zach Johnson, I'm not going to wait until he has course history, because then you may have missed some of your opportunity.
No, I mean, I'm with you 100%. I mean, we all know this is a Zach Johnson course.
Whether it is. It has to be.
It has to be, yeah. He just doesn't know yet that he should play well here.
Do you like someone like Kevin Na, CT Pan-esque type?
Yeah, nah stuck out to me. I don't love him, but just in this range, this is a knock horse. Played well at the match place. Played well here. Infuriating guy to just watch and root for in general. Although this walking the putt in thing, the fast walk in, that's kind of interesting. Um, yeah, I don't love this range. I guess Nick Taylor, 6,900, is the guy just making every cut. He was my all in at Valero, and he rewarded us with a T52 with a hole in one on the way, though. So that
Oh
was
yeah, that's right.
we got that good. So there's a couple of real, as you would call them, shady characters at 6,700. I like that. I think fit
Pat
this
Kazire
course.
one of them?
Patton Kazire is one of them. He was another guy. I went back. I watched the film. The all 72 holes of Kazire playing the Masters. That Masters app, I just can't get over how
It was fantastic.
like I just want to go back and watch it. I'm still going back and just watching rounds of golf. Like it's amazing. So
Yeah, Kazire, we had a question from Chad about him, and he can get hot with the putter. He can win on the tour. I still worry a bit about kind of his off the tee shenanigans.
yeah.
Stott Skallings is the guy that I think people may gravitate towards. Nick Watney. I'm not really there on these guys, though. To be honest, I think you're asking for trouble with some, as you said, shady characters.
So Kazire kind of reminds me of a poor man's Snedeker, which is really scary because Snedeker is really volatile. But yeah, when Kazire has it going, he's got winning upside, and he's won at courses just like this. He won at Mayakoba, won at Sony.
You claim that you watched his match, like, because I don't have the strokes game. What did he do? Was he just like putting from all areas or what?
No, the putter was good. So he started off the off the tee game was really good the first couple rounds and kind of went away. He was hitting fairways. He wasn't spraying it off the tee. Friday or Saturday and Sunday kind of started getting a little wild with the driver. The approaches were decent. He kind of that was probably the most concerning. He wasn't really dialed in with the irons. The short game was really good, but I wouldn't say he like putted the lights out. I mean, he putted well, but I was really kind of seeing like did he hole like 50 footers all day?
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say.
No, he didn't. I mean, I think he putted well. The short game was well. And the driver was good for a couple rounds, but I just like this course for him. But like I said, I don't have a lot of confidence. He's got a ton of miscut equity. Because he's just a volatile player and he's got a lot of leaks in his game. But when he's on, I think he's got winning upside. And this is just it's a good course fit for him. It's going to mask some of his weakness. It's going to play to some of his strengths. Although if you look at his stats this year, you're not going to fall in love with them. I'll just say.
Do I dare ask you if Scott Piercy is in he's not one of your guys, right?
No, he's not one of my guys. I don't think this is a Piercy course.
Neither do I.
Been playing real well. The other two really sickos are Brian Stewart at 6,700 and Ryan Armour at 6,600. I just think these courses set up well for them. They're going to hit fairways. Stewart has a great short game. He's going to hit every fairway and he's going to make putts. And we've seen him. He's played well. He's kind of alternated good finishes and missed cuts, which is maybe what you would expect. Played well at Valero. He was fourth, but he was 18th at Valspar. He was 20th at Honda. Those are, similar tracks to this. Not Valero, but, Valspar and definitely Honda have some similarities here. And the same thing with Ryan Armour. I mean, these are guys are going to hit every fairway, and, that's going to help them out. You don't have to worry about them off the tee. They're not going to be spraying it all over the place. I think things kind of set up well for Armour as well. Kind of same thing as a little bit different game than Stewart, but same kind of deal.
I see. Yeah, I mean,
no, you don't see it.
No, I see where you're going with that. They're in a bucket of depending on what I need at here. And this is what I try to do, and we talk a little more about this on the Wednesday night show in terms of process. When I get down here, I decide like, okay, am I looking for someone like Armour who I feel more confident than these other guys that can make the cut, but probably aren't going to maybe carry and mask a mistake up top? Or is it someone like, to me, I have a dark sleeper here. I think Austin Cook is in play, who showed some life at Valspar. He's not been playing well. He's not going to be popular. He's someone, I think, a lot of miscut equity, but if you get it right, I wouldn't be stunned to see him really, put together some pretty decent upside for you.
Yeah, now that you mention it, it's just one of those guys who seems to stick out a little bit compared to the others. I'm gonna counter with Armour had 6th at Valspar and 12th at Honda. So
Man, I'll admit that Armour's a guy I probably don't give the credit that he's due in terms of finishing. He's always like, I put him in like the Rory Sabatini bucket where I'm like, oh, he makes the cut, but then he comes in like 60th every week. And even Sabatini, he's playing a little better than that, like 30th, despite being awful with his irons week after week.
You make a great point about Cook. Just seems like a better player at 6,600 than a lot of these guys down there. More of a short course specialist. Won the RSM, right? Is that where he won 2 years ago?
Yep, RSM.
Yeah. So definitely a lot of similarities between Seaside course at RSM and here. So yeah, you might be onto something with Austin Cook.
I hope, because I think he's pretty, I looked at Brian Harmon, who chat mentioned, I couldn't get there with the recent form. He had one good showing, at the Players, but other than that, but Austin Cook is a guy I think for a real, you're trying to win the drive to green style. That's the type of play I don't mind getting into. Last guy I'll mention, and totally different than Austin Cook, is Windham Clarke, who just to me seems to be, he just plays well. Needs to get the irons a little better, but quality player who doesn't really get, I think, the respect that he kind of deserves early in his career.
Yeah. No. Oof. He's a tough one. I don't know.
Get him out.
He's the guy with he's losing, like, isn't he 200th in strokes gained approach? Yeah, here he is. 195th in an approach game.
It's not good.
It's not good. He's great off the tee, but he's got a lot of distance off the tee, which isn't going to help him much this week. Short game,
it's not bad. I like the short game on him. He can putt.
No, he has a good short game, which I think is definitely a plus. I think the combination of not being able to use the length combined with an awful approach game is trouble for him this week.
So you don't like Cam Champ either, who's back.
Did he win the Masters? Because I was holding, I had a bunch of Cam Champ tickets at 5,000 to 1.
Close.
4,000 to 1. Yeah.
It's a damn shame.
I didn't even know, was he hurt? I didn't even know he was hurt. I could have swore I saw a blurb that said he was coming
back.
Yeah. I think he was just playing terrible.
No offense to Cam Champ, golf's a lot harder when you don't gain 11 strokes putting. That's what he found out. But is there anyone, we got the defending champ, Satoshi, at 6,400. I don't plan to dip this low. There's someone named Ray Franz in this field. Never heard that name in my life. Do you have anyone in terms of the pure basement?
There's interesting guys down here, I think. I don't think there's anybody I'm really targeting as kind
of Lahiri.
Yeah, I mean Lahiri at 6K. I know you're laughing at me.
I love that guy, but man, he's bad. Flat min, I'm with you though. If you're in a jam,
he was 30th at Valspar. I mean, it wasn't like I think for 6K, I wouldn't mind plugging him in. I mean, I'm not expecting much. I'm honestly expecting a miscut, but I also don't think he should be 6K. Scott Brown is another guy who I think, we see him play well at these terrible courses and terrible events. I think this place should fit him. 6,200. He has a 5th here. He's got 3 top 10s in his last, 7 or 8 starts.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Scott Brown love.
Yeah, I don't know. HV3 seems too cheap, although I hate this course fit for him. So.
That's one where it almost seems like an obvious trap. Like I saw his name down there and I'm like, oh, HV3. But with golf, when you have, this is where, we talk all the time about miscut equity and how you can get paid off for, like, it just seems a spot that a lot of people are going to land relative to a $6,300 player. And how many times is he going to burn you? Yeah, he could get through and it's a nice piece to maybe have. I don't see many ways where you just let other people chase that. I'm not there. So I'd rather play Harkins if I had to, and I don't want to do that. Anything else? Who did you bet? Because I've seen all of society has collectively bet Benny on at 40 to 1. Even I did that.
Ooh.
I know it's not going to work, but you said maybe Ryan Moore.
So I did bet Kazire at 100 to 1.
Ooh,
I like him better. I honestly like him better as a bet than probably a DFS play, just because he is so erratic. And if he's playing well, I mean, he's he can win the event. Whereas in DFS, there's the range of outcomes. There's anything's on the table. We're betting it's like win or
Or not
GTFO.
win.
Yeah, win or get out of here. Uh, I think I'm gonna bet Glover at 50-1. I might bet Knox too, but I
Okay.
just love everything sets up so well for Glover. Just the way that he's playing, all the stats that I'm looking at. I mean, everything is pointing to him. I think 50-1 is decent, and maybe Knox. Knox is. I'll have to see how I feel. But like you said, the approach game on Knox has been great, and this is a good course for him as well. But right now, the only bet I have actually made is Kazire, which
And
I wouldn't advise anybody following me on. But
we've seen, and again, this isn't, I'm not going to say it's an indication, but this is a tournament, especially last year. Satoshi, like guys were coming out of nowhere. This is a little stronger because more people from the Masters have chosen to play, but it's still very reasonable to think that if the top, if DJ and the gang don't win up top, it is wide open from the 9s to the 7s. Like you have a couple dozen guys in that, Grio talent range where it's like one of them can get it going and they're going to be there. There's no doubt. This is not a field where I'm like, God, the win equity up top is too much to overcome. I think it's a good mid-range betting week from that 40 to 60-1 type guys.
yep, and the wind. I mean, the windier it's going to be, the more variance is
Yep.
going to be introduced into like what happens. I mean, DJ. If the wind's howling out there, I mean, DJ could just get into some trouble and that's it. I mean, and that could happen with a lot of these guys. So I think the windier it is, the more into play you're going to bring some of these long shots. You're going to see some crazier stuff happening.
No doubt. I think that's kind of a perfect way to kind of wrap it up is we're going to see what the wind brings. This is a week for me where I'm really going to build to some skill sets. I'm going to say, okay, calm conditions. I want just putting competition. Guys are going to be going flag hunting. Super windy, scrambling around the green types, grind it out, Furyk type, McDowell types. And then other things, tee time stacks, obviously going to be pertinent. And we'll see what happens. I mean, this is a weird course, so different than most weeks.
Are you doing like a DJ Cam Champ, like Windham Clarke bomber stack?
That they don't care about the dog legs. They're just going to go straight through to the woods. Yeah, this is one. I think you said it best. There are some courses where you don't need to be long, but if you want to be aggressive, you can kind of, you'll have some shorter. Here you can't be aggressive on some of these holes. It's just not possible. So maybe they get easier clubs to get the same distance as other guys. But there are certain holes where I don't think DJ can use his length, and that is tough. Even though he's an incredible player all around, it's not the same as something like Honda.
Yeah, 100%. Length really does no good here, but I mean, even if you take driving distance out of the equation, DJ is extremely strong in every other facet of the game. This comes down to me of whether he's interested in playing the style of golf that is required here or not. So
yeah, things like that are going to determine. I know, I'm going to have some, but exposures with ownership, tee times, other types I have not built yet. Obviously, it's only Tuesday. We'll see it. At first glance, it's pretty easy to take DJ and another, I don't want to say top end guy, but someone from the 9s, it's no problem. You're left with plenty, and that will really determine it.
Yeah, with all the playable guys at like 7,500 that we went over,
you can mix and match. Yeah.
Even if people don't love the course fit for DJ, I think people are going to play him just because you can play it's like I have DJ, Sneds, ZJ. It's like you can feel like you don't have a weak link and you're still playing DJ. It's like you're not having to scrape, for some real Lahiris and Brian Stewarts of the world.
Well, yeah, that's where you get. The only way I think you're doing that is if you want like DJ, Kuchar, and like Webb, something really aggressive. More often than not, you're just not going to need someone in the low 6s, and that's probably a good thing, to be honest. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I mean, I think we hit it all. I think enjoy the event. Watch it. Right. You get a different perspective, a different style of golf. I mean, I love watching this event.
It's going to be fun. We're going to see, obviously, Zurich is next week. I don't know what they'll be doing. I'll probably have some fun with some Euro contests, see what's out there. But as I always say, and this is important in light of, some of the shenanigans on Twitter, like the show, questions, comments, good things you can send to Jazzraz DFS. The complaints, fantasy golf man, I've been getting some. We need to segment that out. Those go to Tim. So
yeah. I mean, shout out to Vape DFS.
Always a good time.
And his burner account, Osimo is garbage. I just wanted to say hi. I turned the mic volume up a little bit for you this week. So.
Yeah, we hope Tim's volume is better. We got that actual was useful comment. But as we always say, tomorrow night, me and Jason Roslin will be breaking it down, Q&A, so you can hop back and chat if you have some lineups to discuss. We're going to get out of here. Obviously, stay tuned on the Osimo Network. We got baseball, basketball, all good stuff coming up with the playoffs, even the hockey. Lightning potentially going to get swept tonight, but that's another story for another time. We will get out. Good luck, everyone. Good to see everyone for the Heritage, and we will keep you posted about next week. Take care and good luck.